So today we will be talking about the one of the important concept called file server and the permissions. Okay, so if you are working as a Windows Server Administrator or Windows admin or server administrator, so you should mandatorily know this concept actually. Okay, what do you mean by file server and what kind of permissions we have and why do we need file server? So we'll get started. Can anybody tell me what is the file server? What is your understanding when somebody says it's a file server? Why do we need file server?
To keep the data in server.
Yeah, exactly. Means if you break this word called file plus server, correct? Huh? If you write this file plus server, that will clearly tells you it is the server dedicatedly kept to store your files and folders, correct? Huh? So a dedicated server kept at the data center, cloud, wherever you wanted, and that server will allow you to store the files and folders of the users. And why do we need a file server dedicatedly, and why can't we use the local laptops to store the data? So imagine you are working in an organization and you are there for about 4 to 5 years, very long time. You work there for more than 5 years, and you are one of the critical resources, and all your critical information, like the contract documents, the SOPs, the run books, and some of the critical documentation, everything is resided at your local laptop. So when you resign the organization, okay, so we will hire a person to replace you. And what we do, maybe 1 or 2 months notice period will be there. As soon as the new engineer joins, so we will start giving the shadowing means you will start giving the handover to that newly joined engineer, so that the operations will not be impacted. Okay, so imagine when you are not giving these files and folder to the newly joined engineer or the user, so there are a lot of informations will go along with you, correct? Then the new engineer will not have any clue whenever he wanted to contact a vendor, or whenever he wanted to go through some documentation or some contract. If you want to look at, all the informations will go off, because none of the company will copy the data from your laptop to another laptop. They will not give like that. So once you leave the organization, they will format your laptop. Okay, so in smaller organizations you might see you can copy the files, but in the bigger organizations we will not have that option actually. So to come out of that issue, what we will do, we will dedicatedly keep a server, and that server will be called as file server. Okay, under that peoples will create the hierarchy, like they may create a folder called data. This is the master folder. Under that they will create further hierarchy, maybe it is belongs to IT. Okay, another folder belongs to admin, another folder belongs to HR. So what they will do, they will create a separate folder called IT admins. If it is read only permission, this one IT admin. Modify means M. IT admins full control, if it is full control. So like this they will create a dedicated user groups, and they will add the user to the respective groups and give that group here and decide what level of permissions we wanted to give, so that next time when you leave the organization, say for example you left the organization by resigning, a new engineer comes, and if the new engineer ID get added to the same group, so without even copying the data from your laptop or any other engineer who left the organization from his laptop, if I can just grant access to these respective groups, he will have the access to the required files and folders. That is the beauty of the file server and segregating the content based on the departments. Okay, so it will avoid lot of gaps of losing the data. Okay, it will ensure yes we have the data and our data is secured enough, because IT department user can only access the IT data here, because IT admin and HR has got a separate groups and separate level of permissions. Okay, IT data cannot be seen by an admin or an HR department, but normally IT user can see the data for everybody, because IT is the person who can give and remove the access, who can provide the access or who can remove the access. In order to provide or remove the access, he should be able to first access and modify the access. He should be able to having the full control permission, then only he can give access or he can remove the access. Correct? That is the beauty of the file server. Now you know file server means it is a central server or it is a dedicated server kept at the organization to store your files and folders. Why do we need to have a file server dedicated? Because in order to have the segregation or the classification of the data department wise and ensure the data is there for all the, I mean ensure the data is secured and there will not be any room for missing data whenever any engineer left the organization. Okay, and one more thing is that when the user stores the data in his laptop, never ever any company will take the backup of the laptop, because it is your responsibility. You can take the backup of your data by keeping the important files in the OneDrive or G drive or whatever drives your company provides. Apart from that data, if you keep any other drive like D drive, other drive, there are chances of losing the data if in case of computer crashes, and that is it is not feasible to take the backup of everyone's computer. But if it is a file server, we can configure the backup here, maybe a weekly full backup, every Monday full backup, until Friday we can take the differential backup. So with that, by just taking the one server backup, we can ensure that all the data is secured enough, and if in case any data gets deleted, we can restore the data from the file server. This is how this file server works. Okay, that is about the file server. Now let us try to understand the permissions of the file server. So any idea what all permissions we have in a file server? So there are multiple types of permissions we have in terms of file permission. Okay, so firstly we will try to understand the type of permissions and what are those, and then we will understand what level of permissions we have. So type of permission means there are two types of permissions. One is share permission. Another one is security permission or NTFS. Security share permission, another one is security or NTFS permission. NTFS is thing but new technology file system permissions. Okay, so what do you mean by share permission and what is the difference between security and share permission? Let me explain you. See, share permission means it is just to share the content of the data. So say for example there is a file server. In this there is a folder called data, and this data folder is shared. So shared means this double slash means it is shared. So when I share the folder, If any user in his laptop, he's sitting in his laptop and he'll go to run, and if you just type this and put the server name, this server name, server 01, okay, and if you hit enter, you will be able to see the data folder here. That is only the share permission. Means if you want to make that folder visible over the network, if you want to make that files and folder visible when when the other user access remotely, the folder will be visible. That's all. Just to ensure the folder is visible in the network access, we will give the share permissions. In the share, we only have read and modify permissions. Okay, that is just to ensure the visibility of the folder in the network. That is called a share permission. Okay, but security permission means this is the actual permission where you can restrict the user based on the level of permissions. Then what is the level of permissions we have in the security permission? Okay, 1 second guys. Yeah, so in the security permissions there are multiple levels of permissions. Okay, so the very minimum level of privilege is, it is list only. So basically if somebody asks you what is the level of privileges, we normally tell read only, modify, full control. But if you go to the advanced settings, there you have multiple list, view, all those things are there. But let me consider the major one, which is read only. Read only. So what it is, it will only ensure the file and folders are visible. You can open them and you can just read the content whatever it is there. Okay, but you cannot add or remove anything. If you want to add or remove any content of the file, then you should have another level of permission that is called as modify. Modify. Okay, and third one is full control. So there are three levels of security permissions. Okay, one is read only, modify, and full control. If somebody asks you, do we have any other? Yes, we have multiple. I'll show you them. Okay, so they are list, view, custom, all those things are there, but we don't use all those things. We will only use these three: read only, modify, and full control. Read only means if you want to just ensure the user can only read the content, just give the read only permissions. Modify means if you want to make the user to update the content of the data, then you can give modify access. If the what is then full control? Full control means that full control guy can even change the permission of others. Say for example, I have created this folder called data. When I create the folder, it will tell, if I logged in as administrator and created the data folder, the owner of the data folder will always show as administrator. Okay, so what is this full control guy can do? This full control guy can change the owner from the administrator to the full control. Say for example, Sanju has got the full control permission. What Sanju can do, Sanju can go and change the ownership of this folder called data from administrator to Sanju. So he can even remove the owner of the actual folder. So if that is the case, you have to be very cautious. If you remove the ownership of the folder, that will lead to removal of some of the permissions to some of the certain users. Okay, what if the data folder has got some crucial files and they have access to only for administrator, and if you remove the ownership of the data folder from the administrator to the administrator, then the content which are there inside the data folder may not be able to open by any of the other users. So whenever you are trying to do these kind of activities, you have to be double sure, ensure, and then do the things. Okay, so this is about the theoretical portion of the file server and the permissions. So if you are okay, let me quickly take you to the one of the server and create some simulation for you. Okay, so let me log into the rdc01 PASSW at the rate 123. Let me log in. I'll close, minimize this one. See here you can see this file and storage services that gets installed automatically when you install Active Directory, all those things. Okay, you can go to tools and you can see here file server. Sometimes if you just go to add roles and features, click on next, role based or dimension. Okay, so here you can see file and storage. Okay, you can expand file services. See, file service is already installed. If you say next, it is not showing you as it is installed, because it is already installed. That is why the install button is grayed out. Okay, and that is the reason you can see file and storage services here. If it is not here, then you have to go to add roles and features. Click on next, role based or feature based, and then select the server and go to this file server selection. Click on this file server installed and say next, next, and click on install. Then this service will be installed. As soon as we install this file server, this server will act as a file server. Okay, now let me show you the permissions I was referring. Let me go to the D drive or data drive in the server. Okay, so if I go to this one, there is already a folder called data. I don't want I will not take that data folder. Let me create a new folder called file server. Okay, if I go to the Windows 10 machine, if I log into the Windows 10 machine as Sanju, we'll try to access that server and we'll see what is the error. We will get it. Meantime, in the Active Directory, we will create some groups also and keep it. It has come up. Now let me try to access that RDC01. See, if you go to the run option, put the 2// and the server name or the IP address, you will be able to see the content of the shared content of the server. You can only see data folder here. See, you can see the data folder, and these two netlogon and sysvall, these two folders comes when you install the Active Directory. Okay, and these are the two folders where this Active Directory do the replication, all those things. Okay, and this is the file print server printer we have created the other day. So here I'm talking about the data folder. See, the data folder is there, but I don't have the file server folder. Why? Because the file server folder has not shared anything. It does not have anything called shared. Okay, so if I quickly go to this D drive, and if I just see, right click on the file server and go to the properties of it, and if you see the share permission, it says file server not shared, and that is the reason when you try to access from the Windows 10, you are not able to see the shared folder. Okay, now what I will do, let me share that folder. Click on share. Okay, here try to click on this drop down, select everyone, add, and you can give any permission. I told you only two permissions will be there, read, write, and if you want to remove this, you can remove it. Okay, so let me give read permission only, because the share permission will only to ensure that folder is visible. Okay, I have given the access now. Shared permission I have given. See, now the network path created, the network path is C /RDC01/file server. So now if I go to the Windows 10, again if you just go to the run, type /RDC01, and you see now the file server can be seen in the remotely. See, in the network path it is showing as file server. This is the only benefit of sharing the permission. The share permission is only for this, just to ensure this folder is visible on the network. You see the symbol, pipe symbol, it is called as network symbol. Okay, now he can open, see Sanju can open, Sanju can create something here. See, sorry, unable to create the file, new rich document, access is in it, because we have only given read permission. If you look at, correct, right? If I go to the RDC01, right click on this file server, go to properties of it, and see the security permission. Okay, security permission says for everyone you give read and execute. Okay, list folders and read permission, and that is the reason here Sanju can just see, he can open, see he can open the file, a folder, and he can see if there is a text file. Let me create a text file here. Okay, so let me create a content here from the server as an administrator. See, I can just try to create a text file, test. Under that I am trying to put some values, okay, some data, some content, and I'm making sure I'm just saving this. See, it is saved. Double click on it. Yes, it is, the content is there. Now let me go to the Windows 10 machine and see if I can open this test file. See, I can even open the test file, but I am unable to make the changes and save because I don't have modify permission. See, it says unable to save. See, do you want to replace it? Yes, but it won't. Server, you do not have permission to open this file. See the owner of the file or administrator to obtain the permission. That means whatever access is there, that is correct only. Sanju has got only read only permission. That is the reason he can just see the content. Now what I'll do, let me go to this tools, Active Directory, and create some folder groups. If I go to IT, I'll create group. Right click and say group, and you can create IT, sorry, file server, IT admins. I'll full control. Okay, see, I have just created a group. Now what I'll do, I'll add Sanju. I'll open this group, I'll go to members, and I'll add Sanju to this group. Again I'll go to this file server folder here in the D drive, right click, properties, security, I'll go to edit option, and I can click on add, and what I'll do, I will put the fs-it-admins. Okay, what was the name? fs-it. Okay, fine. Check names. It came fs-it admins full control. As the name itself says full control, we should be able to select the allow here, full control. Okay, click on the full control, apply. Okay, okay. Now if I go back to the Windows 10 machine and try to access the same folder /RDC01 and hit enter, you can see the file server. You can even open the test file. You can even modify the content and you can even save it. See, oh, you need to log off and log in. Let me quickly log off and log in back, because the new permissions is still not, because when the user logs in, it does not have the access. So now let me quickly log in back to the Windows 10 machine as Sanju only, and Sanju has got now elevated access. Yeah, we have logged in now. Let me go to this client machine /RDC01. Now I can open the file server. I can try to create one file, new file. Let me see. See, I can create test2, open it, add content. You can save it. It's happening. See, save is happening. Open the test old file. You can add any content and you can even save. Yes, see, it is possible. Why? Because now the user has got the access. Now what I'll do, I'll create one more user. Okay, it can be Santosh. Okay, I'm just setting the same standard password. Finish. I'll create one more user. Kaushik. Okay, uh, same password I'll add. I don't want the user to change the password, so created. Okay, so there also belongs to IT department only. Okay, but let me create some groups here. The groups can be the same: FS hyphen IT hyphen admins hyphen read only. This is just to show he has got read permission. Okay, another one more group called same FS hyphen IT hyphen admins hyphen admins hyphen modify. Okay, or M means modify. Click on OK. So what I'll do, let me open this modify and add Santosh. Santosh is part of modify group. See, Santosh added. I'll go to read only. I'll add Kaushik. Apply. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll go to this file server and go to properties of it and go to security, and I'll add edit option, add, and then I will put IT. You can not IT, it is FS. Check names. I'll add both modify and read only, both add here. But here for the modify, I will select modify access, and for the read only I will select read only access and have given apply. Okay. Okay, one more thing I have to do, I have to add this newly created user to Windows 10, because they don't have access to Windows 10. This machine I want to log in right now to both Santosh and Kaushik. In order to grant access, I need to add them to this IT Windows 10 PC administrator. Okay, let me add Santosh and Kaushik. Apply. Okay. Now let me go to this Windows 10 machine and log off as Sanju and log in as Kaushik. Kaushik has got read permission. Let me check. Send controller delete. Not as Sanju. Login as same password, but it will take some time because it is creating the profile for the first time. So the profile is getting created. We have almost there. See, the content got created, and if you quickly recall, and if you can see, it has got this wallpaper also because the user is created in the OU called IT, and in the IT OU, if you go to the group policy management console here, there is already a policy, wallpaper policy. See this one. Okay, and you can see the settings. This IT wallpaper. See, IT wallpaper is there, and that is the reason you can see the IT wallpaper there. See, the priority is, though there are two policy for wallpaper, the link order is one for the IT GPO. Okay, and that is the reason you can see Windows 10 here. Now let me try to access RDC01. Go to file server. This is Kaushik, right? Let me see what can Kaushik do. Opening a file, he can have the read permission. He's trying to do. It says he don't have permissions. See, you do not have sufficient permissions. Contact the owner for obtaining the permission. Okay, that is an existing file. Let me try to create a new file here. Click on new, click on text. See, you need permission to perform this action. Try again. So it's not happening. Okay, so this proves that yes, he has got the required access. Let me log off and log in as Santosh. Santosh got little bit high privileges. Okay, so let me log in as Santosh now. So you can see now Santosh logged in. If you go to the command prompt and check who am I, who am I. You see, it is Santosh. So we are good. So let me exit from here and try to access the RDC01. But Santosh has got little privileges more than Kaushik. He can just open the existing file. Only two lines are there. He can make Santosh modified. This data. So see, Santosh can modify the data. Santosh spelling is wrong. Okay. So he can save. See, he can save the content. Now you open the test 2. We can see Santosh modified this data. Means he can just make the content, or he can even delete the content of the existing because he is modifying. Okay. See, he can save it. He can even create a new file. Test 3. See, this is what modified. How to make sure which user has got what level of permissions? You have to go to the file server here and to the folder where this go to the files here, to the data folder, right click on this file server, go to properties of it, go to security here. Under security there is an option called advanced. Click on advanced, and there you can see the file name and you can see the owner. The owner is administrator and there is a change button. If you click on change, it will ask you who else should be the owner. Sanju. See, if you click on OK, now Sanju will act as the owner because you logged in as administrator AC. If you go to command prompt and see who am I, it says administrator. Since the administrator has full control permission here, he can even change the ownership of the users. Okay, files and folders. Now let me click on here. There is an option called permissions, share, auditing, and effective permissions. So click on the effective permissions, and it is asking you to select a device or a user, sorry, group or a user. Click on user and search Kaushik, because Kaushik is able to read it, but he is not able to do modify. So let me check what level of permission Kaushik has got. Click on OK, and you see view effective permissions here below. Click on this, maximize it, and you go. You see here Kaushik has got only very limited permissions. What is that? He can traverse, he can list, he can read, and he can extended attributes. Means only read permission is there. But Kaushik is unable to, he can only read, but Santosh has got little highest privileges. Correct na? Let me try Santosh ID here and view effective access, and you see here Santosh has got highest privileges compared to Kaushik. You see, he has got traverse, he has got read, he has got create file, he has got folders, write attributes, write extended attributes, and read permissions and delete permissions. But he don't have take ownership and change ownership. But now let me go and check for the Sanju. Instead of Kaushik, let me check for Sanju. Sanju has got even more privileges than Santosh. Everything is green now because he has got full control. See, he has got full control. Full control means he can do all these permissions. He can enjoy all these permissions. He can traverse, he can list, he can read, he can extend, read extended attributes, create files, folders, write attributes, delete subfolders, folders, read permission, change permission, and he can even take the ownership of the file. Okay. So if you go to change option here, if you would have logged in as admin as Sanju, click on change, you would have given some users here and change the permission. Okay. This is how you will play with the permissions. Okay, if somebody tells you the folder is unable, I am unable to open the folder, or I am unable to paste any data, you have to do the same thing. You have to understand which file is unable to do. Just go there, right click, go to properties, go to security, and then go to advanced. There you see effective access. Click on this effective access, click on the user, give some username. Okay, whatever user is having issue, click on view effective access. If the content, if the permission shows properly here, then we are good. You don't have to worry, you just tell them we have given the necessary permission. Kindly check from the application side if you are still facing issues. Okay, like that you can mention in the ticket and you can close the ticket. Okay, so this is all about the file server I wanted to explain you today. Okay, let me stop the recording and then I'll take any questions if you have. Thank you.